and we are back, the Enforcers TCG with, state your name.
Ryan Fendley.
And what did you play?
I played Phantom Knight Adventure Horus, or just PK for short.
And, what place did you come in?
I came second place at our Phantom Nightmare sneak peek, as you can see by the play mat. But yeah, I played PK Adventure Horus. I've been on this deck for a few months now. I'm really confident with it, so I felt good going into the event, and it worked out.
All right, let's get into this deck profile.
All right. So to start with the main deck, we've got, of course, 3 copies of Torn Scales, best normal summon in the deck. It discards a card to send a PK from your deck to the grave, and then if you banish a PK, you can bring it back. 3 copies of Boots, one of the best extenders. If you control a PK, you can summon it from your hand. Also, you can banish it to search for a Fogblade. 2 copies of Cloak and 1 copy of Ragged Gloves. You play 2 Cloak for the grind game. You want the second one for games that run a little bit long. And even then, you can usually get it back utilizing Leviair. So it's really like you're playing 3 of this. And then 1 Ragged Gloves. Usually this is like a blank send. If you have an extra send at any point during your turn, you just send this so that if you get disrupted, you have a wider array of options. And then for the traps for the Phantom Knight engine, 3 Fogblade. I gotta play 3 in my opinion. A lot of people play 2, not a fan of it. The 3rd comes up way too much. And then 1 copy of Wing. This is really just like an extra name, to be honest.
Nice.
For the Horus engine, 3 copies of Imseti. This, of course, searches King Sark and draws a card. And then 1 Duamatef and 1 Happy. They're the bricks. You don't really want to draw them, but you got to play them. 2 copies of King Sark. Honestly, I cut the 3rd one of these to play 2 copies of Walls of the Imperial Tomb.
Nice.
I'm not a huge fan of this card in this deck, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
The reason being is that usually you'd rather discard a card than put something back in the deck. That's really just like a neg for this deck. Whereas the discard really isn't. So you can usually get that advantage back because most of the cards have effects in the grave. So, and there aren't really any true bricks that you would draw that you want to put back off of walls. So I think I'm gonna cut this out of the deck completely and play 3 copies of King Sarcophagus.
Okay. Have you thought about playing the dragon?
The Horus?
Yeah.
The deity.
No, I'm not even considering it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So. Next for the Adventure Engine, 3 Water Enchantress, searches right. It's also a level 3 extender. 1 Griffin Rider for the Omni-Negate. 2 copies of Rite of Aramasir. This gets access to your whole engine, summons a token, and places Fateful Adventure. Speaking of which, 1 Fateful Adventure. This gets access to your Omni-Negate and your Equip. You play 1 Equip. This is also removal, so lots of versatility in this engine. I really like playing this engine in this deck. Next, for a small package, I'm on 2 copies of Terratop and 1 Takatomborg. So I play this because Terratop is like 90% full combo by itself, and Takatomborg is not as much of a brick as you would think because Happy is a win monster and Griffin Rider is also a win monster. So you have a lot of ways of summoning this if you hard draw it, and then like I said, this is just mostly full combo by itself. After that, for the last 2 engine cards, I'm on 1 Rhoda and 1 Foolish. These are pretty self-explanatory. For the non-engine, I'm on 1 copy of Droll, 3 copies of Droll, 3 copies of Droplet, and 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. This card, Triple Tactics Talent, was an MVP against Monarchs. I played against Monarchs round 5. He had Domain up and a Tribute Summon monster. So I started playing with the Adventure and Horus cards because you don't really need the extra deck for those. And I waited for him to use his Ether's effect. Once he resolved that, I used Talents to take the Ether that was Tribute Summoned, and then I could use the extra deck because now I control a Tribute Summon monster. So, really cool interaction, but I like this lineup as it is. I'm not going to change it.
So no Ash.
Nah.
Okay.
No thrust?
Can't afford it. And there's nothing really to search, in my opinion. You can go for right, but that's already searchable with Water Enchantress.
Okay, nice.
For the extra, one copy of Cherubini, one Dark, and one Bard each for like the main engine cards, I guess, for the Link monsters. Since level 3 for cost, this helps you to extend into usually Bard each, but occasionally SP Little Knight. And then Bard each to send a Phantom Knight and set a Phantom Knight Speller Trap. And then I'm on one IP and one SP to make using the IP. This is one of the primary disruptions in the deck. Honestly, this card actually fixes a lot of the deck's problems in my opinion. Because prior to this card's release, one of the biggest issues with PK was that it didn't really have enough inboard pieces in order for it to be a competitively viable deck. Because prior to like any of the Age of Overlord stuff, back when Verte was still around, we were ending on Verte with Dragoon or Verte with DPE. And once we lost Verte, the deck lost basically all of its like inboard presence. So this is a huge buff for the deck. I love it. And then something I was trying out, one Selene and one Access Code. Honestly, I like this a lot. So one issue I was having was I couldn't remove enough cards in order to like fully break my opponent's board, even if I'm not going for like game, and they'd be able to come back and break my board. These help with that tremendously. Not to mention Access Code can make itself really big, and that's just an easy OTK potentially. For the XZs, 2 Breaksword and 1 Levier for rank 3s. Gotta play 2 Breaksword. You usually utilize 1 on your first turn in order to make sure your resources don't get banished so you have more follow-up. And then the second one, turn 3 to break your opponent's board, whatever they're able to set up. And then Levier is for follow-up, of course. After that, I played Raider's Knight and Arc Rebellion for the other OTK option. So you can go Breaksword into Raider's Knight and then Raider's Knight into Arc Rebellion, and then make Arc Rebellion gain the attack of all other monsters in the field and negate everything. So that just immediately wins a lot of games just by itself. For rank 8s, I'm on 1 number 90 and 1 zombie vampire. If you don't have full combo already and you have the Horus package, you go for zombie vampire. If you do have full combo, you go for number 90. So, and then lastly, I played 1 copy of Typhon. So I chose Typhon over Zeus because most people are playing Typhon in their extra decks. So I figure if I go for Zeus, it's just going to get shut off immediately. I'd rather just play Typhon, not to mention in my experience, this does come up more. For the side deck, which honestly I'm going to make a lot of changes to, I play 3 copies of Bell, 3 copies of Nibiru, 1 Feather Duster and 2 Lightning Storms, 3 evenly matched, and 3 anti-spell fragrance. So the things that I'm going to change, I'm going to elect to cut evenly matched, believe it or not, in favor of Cosmic. And I'm going to cut Nibiru in favor of Book of Eclipse. The reason for Book of Eclipse is that there's a lot of Centurion in this locals. So, and I don't have the best matchup against that deck. So I want to have something that can just immediately shut off their ability to Synchro Summon on my turn. And Book of Eclipse does exactly that. And then I also want to play the Cosmics over evenly matched, just because I'm already playing Feather Duster and Lightning Storm, and I don't want to waste my battle phase if I don't have to. So against stuff like Rescue Ace, I can still play the backer removal and like see it relatively consistently. But Cosmic gives me more options, and against certain matchups such as like the occasional Runic player or even Centurion or whatever, Cosmic has a lot of applications. But yeah, that's the side deck.
Okay. Question about your extra deck. Did you ever think about playing Buzzkiller?
I don't even know what that card is.
I'll show you. I'll show you.
It just came out of Maze.
Yeah,
It's like Mind Hacker, but at rank 8,
Yeah.
it takes a card out of your opponent's extra deck.
it's really good Wars.
I did not even know that card existed. So
One last thing. Can you just give us a quick rundown on your matchups?
yes. So round 1, I played against Draco Slayer Pendulums. I ended up 2-0ing him. Round 2, I played against a Chimera Horus Sinful Spoils deck. He may have been on the branded engine, but I didn't see any branded cards. So anyway, I 2-0'd him as well. Round 3, I played against Exo Sisters, again 2-0. Round 4, I played against Voiceless. That was my only loss of the day. I ended up going 1-2. And you're going to see his profile on the channel. That was Alan. So huge shout outs to him. And then round 5, I played against, what did I play against? Monarchs. Guy was X1 in round 5 at the sneak peek. That's incredible. I ended up going 1-0 against him because we had a 45-minute game 1. I didn't get my PK engine off at all that match. So I was basically just playing Adventure Horus that game. But it worked out, so.
Well, appreciate you, man. And again, congrats on second place. Let's continue winning.
For sure.
All right, we out.